Hello and welcome to GC360, where news comes full circle. I'm Ross Thompson.
And I'm Maddie Holtz. We bring you news from the Georgia College campus and across the Milledgeville community. Coming up, a shooting at the station on McIntosh. We'll tell you what we know.
Have you heard of Cookie the Ghost? We'll take a look into just how haunted Sanford Hall is.
And who is buried in the old graveyard? There may be more famous people there than you realize.
All that and more on this Halloween edition of GC360. On Tuesday, there was a shooting at a station on McIntosh. The Milledgeville Police Department responded to a call after a witness reported hearing multiple gunshots behind his apartment. Police found shell casings and marijuana at the scene. Witnesses reported hearing 5 to 6 gunshots and seeing a white man and a black man at the scene. A witness said the black man ran towards the neighborhood nearby, and another man was escorted to the Milledgeville Police Department for questioning. There's no word on whether any charges are being filed.
Have you ever wondered who's buried in the Memory Hills Cemetery? There are quite a few interesting characters taking up residence there. GC360's Isabella takes us on a guided tour.
Our first stop is Flannery O'Connor's grave. She's the famous Milledgeville author, GC alumna, and one of the most popular Cemetery Hill addresses. O'Connor died in 1964 at just 39 years old from complications of lupus. Her grave has no special markers and is small and modest. Do the names Chapel, Parks, Beeson, Wells sound familiar? These men were all GC presidents and had campus buildings and dorms named after them. Other Memory Hill residents are less known than these figures, but have interesting stories behind their deaths. Patrick Kane, the only Milledgeville citizen who died during the Sherman's March, is here. Kane was an Irish overseer and died defending the Jarrett plantation. Memory Hill has also spawned some fun ghost stories. One in particular involves William Washington Fish Mausoleum. After returning from the Civil War to find his wife and son dead from typhoid, William Fish was rumored to have closed himself inside their mausoleum with a rocking chair and shotgun. The rocking chair legend is entirely false, but it inspires some spooky traditions. If you knock on the mausoleum door 3 times and ask, "What are you doing in here, Mr. Fish?" you might get an answer. If you want to discover grave types yourself and meet some of the ghouls of Milledgeville, take a self-guided walking tour. The cemetery has brochures and markers available to guide visitors. With GC360, I'm Isabel Echeverria.
One tragically sad ghost story exists today within Sanford Hall, one of the university's residence halls. GC360's Connor King unfolds this unfortunate piece of our campus history.
Back in 1952, when Georgia College was known as Georgia State College for Women, 20-year-old senior from Chamblee, Betty Jean Cook, passed away tragically and suddenly. Her nickname was Cookie. She lived on the 2nd floor of Sanford Hall, which was the senior women's residence hall at the time. Cookie was a high-achieving biology major, hoping to become a doctor. She also was active in theater. One evening brought the big senior dance event to the basement of the hall. Earlier that same day, Cookie went up to the 3rd floor of Sanford, which is now uninhabited, but then was used for storage. Dr. Bob Wilson, a retired Georgia College history professor and local history expert, says she went into a room with a little round window.
There was an old mattress on the floor, and she apparently committed suicide there. The reason the girls knew about it is she must have been screaming. And they knew something was wrong, so the girls in the dorm called the hospital.
Rumors abound about what Cookie actually did to herself, and the case has spawned rumors that Sanford Hall is haunted, that a door unexpectedly closes, that drawers open, and that sounds of steps can be heard overhead. Also, a young woman claimed to have seen the face of a ghost outside a 2nd floor window.
This young woman that saw me, her name was Brandy, came to my office, and I got the yearbook from 1952. And I opened it to the page of the senior girls. Of course, Cookie's picture was in it. And there were about 10 girls on each page. I just opened it and I said, "Could you identify her?" And She picked her right out. She said, "That's her."
A young man who knew Cookie found her on the mattress. She told him, "Don't let me die." The man got Cookie to a downtown clinic, but she died there from loss of blood. The man knew that Cookie was a cutter, something people can do to calm anxiety.
So his conclusion was that she was cutting herself with a razor blade, and that she hit the wrong, a large artery or vein, and accidentally.
We have other evidence of Cookie's mental state.
According to a letter that the college president sent her parents, she was very prone to perfectionism. She held herself to a high standard. She was constantly helping other people and really trying to be a friend to everybody. And she was very quiet about her own pain and quiet about her own problems.
According to a coroner's report conducted the day after she died, Cookie passed away from suicide with razor blades. She cut her elbows and also her neck. But this is a story without a clear ending. We don't know if Cookie was cutting herself out of anxiety or if she really intended on suicide. And we may never know. For GC360, I'm Connor King.
Some very sad news now. The husband and young daughter of Union Recorder-editor Natalie Linder were killed in a two-vehicle car crash Tuesday morning. It happened in Lawrence County, south of Milledgeville. Sean Linder was a special education teacher in Johnson County, and the couple's daughter Bella was 1 year and 10 months old. The Union Recorder reports that the Georgia State Patrol said Linder headed off the road on the right as he was going around a left curve. He then overcorrected and veered into the oncoming lane. His Cadillac CTS collided with a Ford F-350 truck. The truck driver survived the crash. Our thoughts and prayers are with the Linder family.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs.
And you could do some hard time.
Craig, knock it off.
Sorry, Mom.
It could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. And that could set you back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
It's Halloween, so what could be better than a haunted house? GC360's Sophie Sheave found one near campus that featured some scary patients in a haunted hospital.
The mutilated hospital patients took their time getting ready for their prey.
But be warned, there's a psychiatric patient on the loose.
The theme for this year's haunted house was a haunted hospital. Members of the sorority Delta Zeta and fraternity Sigma Alpha Epsilon teamed up for the event. We caught up with them shortly before the house opened to the public.
For about 6 hours now. We're on our 7th hour, and we've had a lot of support from Sigma Alpha Epsilon, and it's been about like 60 people helping all together.
It's all for a good cause.
So the money tonight is going towards the Beth Rim Scholarship, which helps special education seniors, and they can get it if they qualify. So.
Organizers sold 55 advance tickets. The rest of the people paid at the door to be scared. For GC360, I'm Sophie Sheave.
Now let's take a look at something extra scary, parking at Georgia College. Our Gabrielle Duchateau with more.
Georgia College is building a new parking lot just north of the main campus, across from the current Liberty Street lot. The reason? A new science building will be going up on the site of the current Wilkinson Street parking lot. But not everyone is happy about the new parking lot.
Now, I know this is a terribly unpopular position, but I'm worried that we're overpaving our campus. And we're doing that at the expense of what had been some very astounding natural habitat.
The new lot is expected to hold 153 new spots. Dr. Otter's suggestion on how to solve the lack of parking issue is to encourage walking and biking.
We have too many people driving to campus. There's just too many cars coming in for short visits. So I'd just like to speak up on behalf of those of us who walk and bicycle to campus.
Biking to campus isn't always the safest option. There are not many bike lanes throughout the city of Milledgeville, so many bikers choose to ride on the sidewalk, which is illegal according to the Georgia statute 40-6-144. Georgia College Parking and Transportation has a project in the works to create a bike path so that a safe and legal way to bike to campus will exist.
Install a bike lane around West Campus to get it closer. I mean, I think that over time there's supposed to be a connection between West Campus and campus or the...
Although other priorities, like the new parking lot, might come before building bike paths.
It's a need for this additional parking close to campus. So trying to be forward-thinking about the development of campus and university and the needs of the university.
A parking lot where sustainability and practicality clash. For GC360, I'm Gabrielle Duchateau.
Gabby is joining us in the studio now. Gabby, what are your thoughts on the parking situation?
Well, I definitely think that we need a new parking lot on campus, but I also understand the other side of the story here that we have too many people driving to campus, so I think it'd be good if everybody would do their part and walk to campus when possible and take shuttle buses when possible too.
So Gabby, do you think that you would use a bike lane if Milledgeville added one?
Well, I definitely think I would. My dad has offered to buy me a bike a couple of times so that I can bike to and from campus, but I live too far away now. But if I lived a bit closer than I do, I would bike to campus as much as possible. How about you? Would you bike to campus?
I think if I had a bike on campus, I definitely would use a bike lane. I live in the
Me
dorms,
too.
so
Yeah.
I think it would be very practical.
Yeah, and it's very nice on campus too that they offer bike racks for everybody to do their things. So that's nice.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Gabby. Did you know Georgia College has a swim team? Daniel talked with the swim team captain to find out more about the squad. Stay with us.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs.
And you could do some hard time.
Craig, knock it off.
Sorry, Mom.
It could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. And that could set you back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Welcome back to GC360. It's time for your weekly sports update. I'm Herndon Lee.
I'm Kirsten Skipper.
And I'm Daniel Mastrodotero.
Georgia College Rec Sports has also gotten into the Halloween spirit. Last night, they had a costume contest and giving out candy to everyone who had games last night. Today, they had an obstacle course on West Campus Fields until 6 o'clock. The fastest male and female will receive a $25 gift card. If you wear a costume, you receive a 30-second head start. So be sure to head out to the West Campus Fields to compete in the course.
The Georgia College women's volleyball team won their first conference match with a huge comeback against the Francis Marion Patriots. The Bobcats dropped the first set and were down 2-1 after the third set. This is when the Lady Bobcats were able to dig deep and win the next two sets with scores of 25-21 and 15-12. The Bobcats are back in action on November 1st against conference rival Flagler College.
Tomorrow, the ATO of Georgia College will clash with the ATO of Mercer in America's favorite pastime, baseball. The game will be played in Macon at Luther Williams Field. Tickets are $3 now and $5 at the gate. All proceeds will go to the Calvin Johnson Jr. Foundation. The first pitch is at 7 p.m., so be sure to come out and cheer on your Bobcats.
There's a good chance you never heard of the Georgia College's swim team. I went out to a practice to find out about the team.
Georgia College's swim team has managed to fly under the radar for quite some time. The team itself is not an official Georgia College team, but is actually completely run by students alone. We spoke with the president, Garrett Artura, to tell us more about the team's origins.
So our team has been going since about 2004. We've had different presidents through the whole thing, but the team's stayed really strong. We've kept our same constitution, the same rules, and we've kept the same, trying to do a lot of meets, get people out there and as active with the team as we can. Usually practices are 1.5 miles or 2 miles. We really, we're not super demanding. We're not trying to put anybody through the Olympics, although that'd be pretty sick.
Although the team has a devoted president, the same can't be said for their swimmers, who clearly struggle with attendance at practice. With 20 swimmers on the team, sometimes as little as 4 people show up, which was the case with our visit. But Garrett does not seem too worried.
People don't come to practices. Usually the meets are really the big deal. The meets are why people join the team, and that's the events that are the most fun. Well, it's college. People are busy a lot of the time, so sometimes it's hard to get people to go out. But we'll have practices where there's about half the team is here, which are the heavier days. And then there's days like today, where partly the weather and partly because people are busy. There's a lot going on in school all the time, with between studying and other people have other commitments as well.
Despite the low attendance at practice, the team still shares a passion to compete against other teams in and out of state. They're scheduled to compete at NC State on the 2nd and at Coastal Carolina on the 9th. If you want to know more about the team, check out their Instagram at GC Swimcats.
So Daniel, tell us what it was like to go see the practice of the swim team.
I gotta say, Herndon, I was pretty shocked. The team has about 20 swimmers overall, and during my time at their practice, I only saw about 5 swimmers there. But of the kids that were there, they seemed very devoted to the sport, and they seemed to love what they're doing.
Where do they practice?
They practice at the Wellness Center pool.
Okay. How often are they practicing?
They practice every Tuesday and Thursday from 5:30, and they usually swim around 1.5 to 2 miles every practice. It's a pretty rigorous practice, and they look forward to spreading the word about the team.
Heck yeah. Well, it sounds like a really cool team. Definitely should give it a look sometime.
Yeah, I think so too.
GC only has one home game this week. Women's volleyball will be taking on Flagler at 7 p.m. Friday. Make sure to come out and cheer on our Bobcats as they shoot for another win on home court. We also wish the women's soccer team luck as they travel to North Carolina to take on UNC Pembroke this Saturday.
That's it for sports.
Coming up next is entertainment with Frankie Mastras. If you're not sure what scary movies to watch tonight, Frankie's got you covered. Stay tuned.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs.
Get caught buzz driving, and you could do some hard time.
Craig, knock it off.
Sorry, Mom. It could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. And that could set you back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Welcome back to GC360. I'm Frankie Mastras. Jordan is off this week. Halloween means horror movies, and I love them too. Do you know that there are many benefits to watching horror movies? You actually burn calories. It can help you cope with anxiety, enhance your brain activity, and it will also boost your immune system. Watching horror movies also can alleviate stress. In the spirit of Halloween, I have some recommendations in 4 subcategories of horror movies: slasher, paranormal, psychological, and supernatural. If you are looking for a slasher film, I would recommend classics such as A Nightmare on Elm Street, Scream, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, or Friday the 13th. If you want a paranormal movie, try Annabelle, The Autopsy of Jane Doe, The Conjuring, Poltergeist, or Paranormal Activity. For a psychological horror movie, check out The Shining, The Ring, Silence of the Lambs, The Babadook, Saw, and The Orphan. And if you're looking for a supernatural film, you can't beat Insidious, The Nun, Lights Out, and The Exorcism of Emily Rose. That's it for Halloween Entertainment Report. See you all at the movies.
Hello and happy Halloween. I'm Gabrielle Duchateau, your head weather anchor, here with your weekend weather. October is closing out as a rainy month, with temperatures swinging from the low 60s to the high 80s. Maybe November will be more consistent and allow us to feel like we're in the holiday season. Now, let's take a look into your weekend weather. Tomorrow is the first day of November, and we will be heading right into November weather. We have a cold front moving across the country, so after recovering from thunderstorms and humidity Thursday, the cold front will pass, and Friday will be cool and sunny. The high will be 69, and the low will drop all the way down to 39. No chance of rain. Saturday is looking like it will be partly cloudy, but since the cold front will be behind us, temperatures will stay cool for a few days. The high will reach 68 and the low 38. The chance of rain is 10% and the humidity will be at 61%. Sunday will be mostly sunny with temperatures staying in the low 60s, the high being 62. The low will dip to 39 and the chance of rain stays at 10%. Humidity lowers to 55%. Now, here's a quick note for everybody. This Sunday will mark the end of daylight savings time, so remember to change your clocks as we will be falling back and gaining an hour of sleep. That's all I have for you. Now let's throw it back over to Hannah with Hot Talk.
Happy Halloween! Spooky season has come to its climax, and I thought I'd give y'all a couple fun podcasts to listen to while you're getting ready for Halloween shenanigans. That may occur tonight. The first one is one that I recently found thanks to a suggestion from a friend. It's called Welcome to Night Vale. Welcome to Night Vale is a sectioned podcast set in a tiny little town where every conspiracy theory you have ever heard has come true. My favorite segment is one that just wrapped up called The Heist. Throughout a series of 3 episodes, there is a heist in a bank in Night Vale. The listeners then follow along with Carlos as he attempts to figure out this mystery. The podcast is released twice a month, so there are plenty of episodes to dig into. Welcome to Night Vale is a fun and exciting podcast that kind of just lets you forget the world for about 30 minutes. Another awesome podcast is more in line with spooky seasons, and it's one of my favorites. It's called And That's Why We Drink. This podcast is made by 2 best friends who tell spooky stories while drinking wine. Some of my favorite episodes are where they explore the real-life happenings and horror stories submitted by their audience. These episodes are just a little bit shorter than their normal ones, ranging about an hour. In their normal episodes, they tend to dive into 2 to 3 different mysterious and spooky happenings surrounding haunted houses, abandoned towns, and even the occasional government conspiracy theory. Both these scary podcasts should be sure to fill your itch for something spooky and even just a little bit of mystery for tonight. Happy Halloween and happy listening. And now let's take a look at our fabulous crew who've dressed up for the spirit of the season. Oh God, I don't know. Okay.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's extra spooky edition of GC360. I'm Ross Thompson.
And I'm Maddie Holtz. When we're not on air, we keep you up to date on our social media pages and our website, gc360news.com. Always available to you, GC360, where news comes full circle.
Everybody do spin.
Spin.
Nobody.
Which direction are we spinning? All right, we're spinning.
What?